This anti-horde build is an absolute game changer. You can come out of it with 600 plus kills easy on the right map. This build is really strong in a supporting role because it will struggle a little bit against the elites where you've got some high armor units such as the Charger. Although the Autocannon combines with the grenade launcher and your primary, you will be able to take the Chargers out, but just bear that in mind. The build is based around the principle of light armor, fast mobility, and calling in deadly cluster air bombs, and just to dominate and kill any horde that you're facing in game. First on the list is the Eagle Cluster Bomb. Even without updating your ship modules, it's still an extremely effective weapon, having 4 call-ins. But once you can upgrade your modules to have liquid ventilated cockpit, pit crew hazard pay, and expanded weapons bay, this is where it all starts coming together. This allows you to call in more airstrikes, less reload time, more dominating and just destroying everything that's in your path. The real positives of using the cluster bomb is this really large area effect. So when the bugs or the automatons coming at you and they're spread out, you're able to kill multiple of them just with one strike, and that's the real power of this. It's also a little bit of a negative which you need to consider, is it has a very large area of effect. So if you're standing in the wake of it, or if anyone else is, there's a possibility of team killing. I don't think I've ever killed so many people with any other stratagem other than the cluster bomb, because unless you've got good comms, good dissipation of your teammates, you're going to get some team kills, which, you know, it's not ideal, but that is also one of the main principles of this game, is that you are a dispensable Helldiver who is just thrown at them. If you die, you call another one in. Some of my favourite places to use this is like when the bug breach happens, you just throw it on there, turn around, run away, reload, reposition, start the entire process all over again. It's just such a dominating air effect weapon. It's fantastic at clearing them hordes out. Really recommend it. I use it basically all the time now when we're kind of farming for samples and not really having to worry about the Bile Titans. Next on the list is the grenade launcher. I was a little bit skeptical about using this before I actually started doing it, because I really either like using the autocannon or the railgun. But it is such a versatile gun. You can just position it and just pop them rounds off. You can fire in very quick succession or slow succession. I typically find it's easier to sometimes aim towards the floor just in front of them, but within bug breaches and also the holes, it's just one grenade in, pop, and you can just get it from distance. And that is what I think really makes this much more of a game changer with the anti-horde methodology that kind of I'm showing here. Is you're able to engage things from much longer distance and have that area of effect. And this build is primarily built upon having that large area of effect where enemies are clustered, they're grouped together, and you can spend the least amount of ammunition for the most amount of kills. Some important considerations to remember about this is that it is an impact weapon, as well as the fact that it can bounce. So what I mean by the impact weapon is if you shoot it at the floor in front of them, it's going to blow up. But if you shoot it at the armor, for instance on the Charger or the Bile Titan, it's going to bounce. And sometimes that bounce can then either kill you or kill other people. If you're really lucky, it's going to bounce and kill someone standing behind you. It's a very versatile weapon. Clearing up bugs nests, it's brilliant for. Just if you can run in there with the light armor and the shield, you can take some hits while just going around and popping grenades into each and every bug hole. You'll clear the hole out, you'll get a load of kills. It's just fantastic in that regard. Not very effective against the Chargers because of the fact that it bounces off their armor. But I don't think that actually takes away from how good this weapon actually is. Anyone can take down a Charger, you just have to sometimes take a little bit more time to do it. Clip size isn't really an issue in this. You do have 2 clips that you can carry, but the premise of it is that it is a support weapon, and you have to remember that. It isn't going to be your primary. But you can find ammo boxes and resupplies and just top yourself back up with it. But by the time you've even need to do that, you've already just dominated and cleared everything out on the battlefield anyway, so you can take that breather, restock, resupply, onto the next. Next up is the Autocannon Sentry. This stratagem I use to pivot round. And to expand on that a bit is I will place it in a position by where I can give it clean line of sight. And I will support the weapon because low rate of fire, low turning until you upgrade it in the ship modules, and the enemies will focus it down. The chargers especially will just go straight for it and blow it up. Hopefully in that time it's coming at the autocannon, it can shoot off a few rounds. It shoots in 3-round bursts. Don't stand in front of it. It will kill you. Even with the shield backpack, it's still going to take you down. That's why positioning it is key and using it as an anchor point, which is basically how I use it. Just set it up, give it good line of sight, let it support you while you're shooting them down with your shotguns, popping them off with your grenade launchers, hitting them with grenades, hitting them with cluster bombs, hitting them with everything else you've got, while it's giving you that stable rate of fire to cover your back, basically. It's a great weapon. You can also switch it out for the Mortar Sentry. My only consideration of Mortar Sentry is it's such a team killer, because if someone gets near you, the mortar's going to land straight on your head and it's going to kill you straight away. So just bear that in mind. High damage, low rate of fire, recommend it. Next decent stratagem is the shield backpack. I was a little bit dubious about putting this in here because I feel that when you take this, it's taking away some of your other stratagems, but it is an absolute lifesaver. On the higher difficulties, this is what means that you're able to move in and around the enemy, taking that damage and not actually dying. It just gives you so much more flexibility, especially when you pair it with light armor. That gives you that increased stamina and that increased speed. You can just zip around people, stand still, calling in stratagems like some crazy person on Helldive difficulty. The shield will absorb 3 or 4 hits from the smaller ones, and usually between 1 or 2 from the larger bugs, and the same for the automatons. It can deflect rockets. It can deflect the bile that they spit, and the licking tongues and the claws. It's such a lifesaver. As soon as you get it, you're gonna thank me again. It's just such a great stratagem to use. Really recommend pairing it with light armor. Now, when you start putting all of these stratagems together, this is where the power of this build comes from. Everything you're using is going to complement each other. You've got the autocannon to provide that stable rate of fire, that pivot point that you can swing around. You've got the cluster bombs to give huge area of effect and take out the hordes as they're coming at you. You've got the grenade launcher to, again, bug tunnels, bug breaches, popping rounds off, clearing them out with that area of effect. And the shield backpack to give you that survivability. So let me know what you think. I did another video on a bit more of an anti-armor focused one, which I'll put a link in the description that you can go and check out. So yeah, really appreciate you watching. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe. Until next time, guys. Peace.